You are now listening to the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe. Thank you for joining us as we talk about the movies of yesteryear. You can reach us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter by searching for Backlook Cinema. Check our show notes for more info, and now, let's get it in.
Hi, this is Zach.
And this is Zoe. Welcome to the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe, where we take a look back at the movies of yesteryear. And thank you. This is the 9th episode. Happy New Year. It's 2021. We've solved the virus. Awesomeness. The year of our Lord, 2021.
No.
How excited are you about the new year?
Not at all. None.
No excitement at all?
No, I have no faith in 2021.
You're gun shy?
No, I just don't have no faith in it.
Well, I believe it will probably continue to suck for the first 6 months, but I am optimistic that it will gradually suck less.
I was optimistic about 2020 when, 2019 was over. You know that, right? And then I was like, yeah, 2020 good. And then immediately 1 month later, it just went downhill. And I was like, yeah, this is not going to turn out well at all.
Yeah, this is definitely a once-in-a-lifetime year. There was 1 year that we didn't even have a summer in the Northern Hemisphere. That was awesome. Well, it wasn't awesome. It probably sucked for the people who lived back then, but I think it was in the 1910s or something like that. Some volcano blew up over in Europe, or I don't know where it was. I think it was in Europe somewhere. And the resulting pollution was so great that the Northern Hemisphere didn't actually have a summer. It maintained wintertime conditions for the entire year.
That was fine.
So every once in a while, you're going to get a suck year, and 2020 happened to be that year. It just had so much symmetry around it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, 2020. Everybody thought it was going to be great.
Yeah.
And we were fooled. But now it's 2021. It's a brand new year, and it can't continue to suck. That's what's optimistic about it. It cannot continue.
Watch how life proves you wrong just by saying that.
I mean, it'll probably be some bad spots for sure, but it won't continue to be bad.
Yeah. Keep that hopes up.
So, as you know, we started this podcast to strengthen the bond between father and son and father. We will someday rule the galaxy.
No. I draw the line at that. No.
Why don't you tell them how they can hear us?
All right. So if you want to hear the show, it can be heard on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Pandora, Audible, or anywhere you listen to the podcast.
And you can reach us at backlook.com, where you can leave us feedback directly, or you can check out our social media profiles on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Just search for Backlook Cinema. You can also check out our merch at www.backlookcinema.com. That has a link to our Teespring store, or you can check it out at teespring.com/stores/back-look.cinema.merch. Yes, I know it's long. I didn't think about it when I made it up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you should have thought about all that.
That's why there's an easy-to-click link at www.backlook.com. You can just go to that website, and there's a link to the Teespring store, and we're coming out with more and more merchandise. Just keep clicking. Just keep clicking. And I swear to you, we will have more.
Yeah, we'll have more T-shirts, hoodies, mugs, face masks, and a bunch of other items. And please, if you like our show, then rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or the various other podcast apps you might be listening to us on.
Yes. So the question of the week, or the last couple of days, because, our schedule's kind of been funky, but what have you been doing the last couple of days?
Nothing. Trying to get back into Final Fantasy. It's 15. That's what I've been trying to do.
Why you say you're trying to get back into it?
Because I remember I have a save file. I was like, oh, what was I doing? And I was like, oh, I have a bunch of missions. I have no idea what to do. So at this moment, I'm thinking I might as well just restart from the very beginning, just so I can remember how to play the game.
When's the last time you played it?
When it came out. Which I believe was in 2015 or 2016. I don't remember.
Yeah, when it's that long, that might require you to start all over again. I've restarted many a game because I left off like a long time ago, and then decided, well, it's not even worth it to try to start, because then you kind of lose the story thread. You kind of lose it. You don't even know what's going on anymore. It's like, oh, I might as well just start all
I mean,
over.
it's Final Fantasy. I never know what's going on. That's the whole point of Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm like, I need to start over. And something like Final Fantasy, what'd you say, 15? That sounds complicated.
I believe it's 15. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm not giving moment numbers.
I mean, just Final Fantasy 7 was complicated enough. I downloaded that. I haven't started. I played the original one.
Yeah, you should play that remake one. It's really good. All you have to do after you beat it is wait for part 2.
Yeah, I know, right? And then I'm playing. Well, I had started playing the original Chrono Trigger, but I haven't played that in months. And I'm contemplating starting all over with that one, because that one don't have any helpful hints about what you were doing when you last played it. But at the same time, they don't have any side missions, so I don't have to worry about that. I just got to remember where I left off in the main quest. But yeah, it's been a while since I played that one. And then another game I've been trying to play is The Witcher, the first one, the very first one, the one that CD Projekt Red had made that gave people faith in CDPR, and now they have lost faith.
I mean, I'm not gonna blame them. I'm just gonna blame the people that own them. That's all I can.
Yeah,
blame.
they own them. They own them. They own themselves. So
No,
yeah, it's all their fault.
I'm not talking about them, the designers and such. I'm talking about
Yeah, you're talking about the owners. The
PR stunts and all that. Yeah,
them. They own them. So you can blame CD Projekt Red. If you want to say, I don't want to blame the programmers, then fine. Yes, don't blame the programmers. They're just doing what they're told. They were upset that their game was released and it wasn't ready. They were upset too. So you blame the management, but the management is still CDPR. So you could still blame them. But anyways, so The Witcher has a lot of side quests, like a ton of side quests, and it's kind of daunting. And I remember what I was doing when I was last playing it though, and it hasn't been so long, so it doesn't require me to start all over again. But yeah, I've been busy doing other things. I haven't got a chance to get to doing that sort of playing the game. So also, you know what Okay, it's I'm just looking at my audio, and I'm like, wow, is it recording? It looks like it. So, other than that, really nothing. Really nothing. I meant to get some drawings in, but I hadn't done that. Maybe get some recordings in. Hadn't done that. No, just man, this holiday season is kicking my butt.
You're surviving. You'll be fine.
Right. So, what movie did we watch this time?
Juice.
So you liked. I'm trying to think. What was the name of that movie? Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, that
so
was
I
good.
figured with Straight Outta Compton, if you like Straight Outta Compton, you'd probably like Juice. So what did you think of Juice?
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good, wasn't it? That movie was pretty impactful when I was growing up. It came out in 1992, so I already graduated from high school. For some reason, I just felt like I watched it while I was in high school, but no, I had to watch it after I graduated basic training, because it came out in July 1992. So it was either shortly before I went in basic training or maybe shortly after, because I know I went in the summertime to basic training in Army. So, wow, the time really messes with you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're going to start having these memory problems when you get older.
I mean, I have some of them right now at times.
Right. So, Juice follows 4 Harlem teams. Do you remember their names?
One was Q, one was Bishop. What was the other one? Steel. And I forgot the other one.
Raheem. There you go. See how impactful it was? It's like sometimes you go into a movie, it's like, you don't remember who those people are, but like with this one, because it was that impactful. Well, they're out skipping school one day when they find out an old friend was killed at a shootout at a bar. After this, Bishop tells his friends that they have no respect for juice. To get some, they rob a corner grocery store, but things take an unexpected turn. Only 4 friends know what happened, but one of them is out for himself. And that was written by Stevenson, and I got that from IMDb. As I mentioned earlier, this movie was released in July 1992 on the 17th by Paramount Pictures. It grossed over $20 million on a $5 million budget. Now that, my friends, is a hit. And that is, and there's like a discussion in our community about, as far as black films are concerned, about making black films. And it's basically the discussion is that Hollywood continues to make black films because black films are highly profitable because they're very cheap to make. They're normally made on very small budgets, like just $20 million. Even back then, you would have to pay Tom Cruise $20 million to be in a movie. But this movie grossed $20 million, but it was a $5 million budget. It's pennies for what movies are usually made. I mean, even Ice Cube, when he made his movies, it was on a $30 million budget. This is a $5 million budget. I mean, wow. And it had generally favorable reviews. This movie stars Mike Epps. Wrong Epps. Omar Epps. Omar, do you recognize Omar Epps? He was the one that played Q. Omar Epps.
No, I don't.
Okay, so you've seen him before though. So he was one of his most famous movies was in Love and Basketball. That was another very important film for the community. But he's also been a regular in House, ER, and he was also in the movie Don't Be a Menace in South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. And that is actually a parody of movies like Juice or Menace to Society or what was the other one? I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. Boys in the Hood. That's another.
I mean, it's in the title when you read it.
Yeah, that was the whole point. It was in the title. Also, do you recognize the man who played Bishop?
Yes, Tupac.
That's Tupac Shakur. So you do have some culture in you.
Yeah.
He was. I'll get back to it more in the in the trivia portion, but. What I did not realize is that he had not actually started his solo career as a musician before he did this film. So he was kind of acting on the side for a long time. He actually started with Digital Underground. He was actually a dancer, like a background dancer with Digital Underground. And then he did like a couple of verses on some of their records because it was like a whole group. It wasn't just one person. But they're famous for the song Humpty Hump. Do you remember that song?
No.
It's your chance to do the dance, doing the hump, or do the hump, the hump, or do the hump, the hump. Give me the music, or do the hump, the hump.
Stop.
You don't know that one? Okay.
It feels like it's recognizable, but stop.
So he started off with that group before he broke out on his own. But he's also been in Poetic Justice, Above the Rim, and Gridlocked. But I think this is his first movie. It also had Jermaine Hopkins. That's the one that played Steel. He was in Lean on Me and the Wayans Brothers TV show. Khalil Khan, he played Raheem, and he was in mostly the show Girlfriends, which I never watched, but I understand that was a good show. I've heard, but I ain't never seen it.
Uh-huh.
So, also Cindy Harron. She's actually a singer from En Vogue. She played Yolanda, and that was Q's girlfriend. Also, did you recognize Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah, that was easy to recognize.
I was like, oh, look at young Samuel L. Jackson.
It's like he never aged.
Right. And also Queen Latifah.
Think she was the one holding the competition.
Right, there you go. You got it.
I had to think about it. I was like, who could have? I was like, it had to be the one holding the competition.
Right, but you also, you should have recognized that. Oh, I don't know if you've seen Ursula or not, what you call it. But you never, that's right. You never saw, what was that show that she was on? Living Single. You never saw that.
No.
And nor have you heard any of her records.
No.
Your assignment.
No.
Should you choose to accept it or not?
I do not accept it.
Listen to some Queen Latifah records.
First of all, I just said I do not accept it.
To listen to Queen Latifah That is your assignment.
Oh,
should you choose to accept it or not?
Yeah,
That is what I'm
guess what?
asking of you to listen to Queen Latifah. She's actually just as important as Tupac Shakur. You need to listen to Queen Latifah.
I just
She
I
done
don't
broke
accept
up. She done broke up in the rap game when the rap game did not want no woman in the rap game, but she was in there because she is Queen.
I'm pretty sure
Latifah.
it's down record that I said I do not accept the mission.
It doesn't matter what you accept.
It does matter. I have a
not
choice.
Giving you a choice in this particular matter. We got to listen to some Queen Latifah, and what you call it. So is Queen Latifah? She was in that. She's been in another couple of shows, but the other movie that she was in was God. What was that movie? I should have wrote it down, but I didn't write it down. It was about 4 women who basically went on a crime spree, and she was in that one. I need to put that on the list since I can't remember it right now. But anyways, yeah, that I think this is one of her earliest films that she did, and the funny thing about it is like I hadn't seen this movie actually since the first time I saw it, since it came out. So there are 3 scenes that I remember from the movie like clearly. The one with Queen Latifah when she tells the dude, if you wasn't so small, maybe you'd have a chance. I remember that one. That was impactful. The second one is when Bishop got up after being shot.
Mm-hmm.
That was super impactful. And then the most obvious one, what do you think the most obvious one is that I remember?
I'm guessing the fight scene at the rooftop.
Not that one. I don't even remember that one.
Okay. When they're getting chased by the cops.
No.
Okay.
That's the whole movie, really.
When they're robbing the store.
No, I actually don't remember that. I was trying to figure out what the conflict. The thing that was most impactful was when Bishop chased Q into the elevator, and they were looking at each other. Q looked down and was like, "You gonna shoot me in the elevator?" And Bishop chops and shoot him in the elevator. That was super impactful. So yeah, that was an impactful moment. So it was directed by Ernest R. Dickerson, and he's a cinematographer for most of Spike Lee's movies, including his early movies anyway. These include Malcolm X, Jungle Fever, and Mo Better Blues, and others. He was actually a director in the movie Bulletproof, and but mostly he's been directing all of your favorite TV shows: Dexter, The Wire, Lincoln Heights, Train, The Walking Dead. He's been busy.
You know how about your favorites? Those aren't mine.
No, actually, I haven't sseen any of these shows. I've seen The Wire, and I know that for a lot of our listeners, these are their favorite shows. But I have wanted to watch Bosch, but I never got around to it. And I know for a fact that I would love The Walking Dead, but I just never got into it. Just never started watching it. But I know I like it because it's based on a comic, and I try to watch all of those shows. There are a bunch of shows right now that I like to watch. I haven't started watching. And The Walking Dead is one of those shows. I hear people talk about, I'm gonna, what did it say, cram?
I don't know.
No, when they watch a lot of shows, what is that called?
Oh, binge watch.
Binge watch. I'm a binge watch The Walking Dead, or I'm a binge watch the Veep or something like that. But I used to be able. I used to could do it. I can't do it now though. Don't really know why.
Yeah, I know why. You're too busy playing video games.
That could be it. How you like that music?
It was good.
Yeah, it was an all hip hop kind of soundtrack. You know, it was always a beat. And you can thank the Bomb Squad and Hank Shockley for that music. But I mean, they did the background music, but I think they was mostly in charge of selecting the music for the soundtrack. And that included the Uptown Anthem by Naughty by Nature, Enough Respect by Big Daddy Kane, and It's Going Down by EPMD. And they had a lot of some of the greatest hip-hop artists of that day, of that era. It was produced by Neil H. Moritz. And I don't know too much about him. I actually didn't do too much research.
I think you should have. But anyway, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back to talk about our favorite parts of the movie and find out what some of the critics thought.
Okay, so I'm supposed to read this here. Drink Duff beer. Duff is good beer. It is delicious and nutritious, and it's good. It's good beer. Drink Duff. Duff is good beer. It's Duff. Duff. That's the stuff. Yeah, I read it. I don't think there's anything else to read. It's just Duff is good beer. Duff is the stuff. So if you need some stuff, drink Duff. Duff is good for you. Drink Duff. It's the stuff.
Manufactured in the city of Springfield. Please drink responsibly.
All right, we're back. So, Zach, what was your favorite part of the movie?
Favorite parts would be, I guess, when Bishop is getting jumped the first time and he has his friends come help him out to bail him out so they don't, get into a fight. Another one would be when Q's girlfriend is kicking out the guy that she was previously dating. Because
apparently that was her husband.
Yeah, husband. And I was like, oh, so she's been cheating on him.
I don't know if she's been cheating on him. I think that their relationship was already over. But she said that he was just getting the last of his stuff out.
Yeah.
Because I think they were separated. And while they were separated, like they're still separated, but while they're separated, then that's when she started a relationship with Q. But what's funny is that Q got that game to get an older woman.
Yeah. Let's see. Another good part was when doing the DJ competition, when Q was on stage doing his thing, going against the reigning champion, beating him. And I was like, wow, you're the reigning champion. You got beat by someone who just got, oh my, that's sad.
Well, it's not like he just started DJing.
I know, but it's still, I'm like, that's just, wow, sad.
Well, it just goes to show you that there's just a lot of unknown talent out there. And some people, they're talented, but they just remain undiscovered or unnoticed by somebody who matters. Like you need a mentor. You need somebody to be able to lift your voice up to the people so that people will notice. It's just that Q just didn't have. He was a good DJ. He was good at what he did. He just didn't have enough people who heard his voice. Like that, he was local. Right? He didn't like being called local, but that's exactly what he was.
Let's see. And the last one I'll choose is the final fight scene on the roof when Q was trying to hold on to Bishop, but then, he slipped, crashed. And as he leaves, there's a whole crowd there, and I'm like, why are you people even there? I don't get it, but whatever. You want to be instigators, okay. And then as he leaves, you hear a guy talking about, so who got the juice? Now I'm like, first of all, what kind of question is that? Secondly,
no, he didn't say who got the juice. He says, oh, you got the juice now.
Are you sure? But then it's like, it's an awkward cut when you just see him just staring at the camera. Like, that's a very, very awkward cut. It's just so awkward to me. He just could have just let him walk out the building.
Right.
Instead of just cutting right there.
Well, see, to him, he never believed that that's the kind of juice that was valid. But like to him, that's not the kind of juice that he was looking for. Juice back then is like meant power and respect, and they think that it's not so much that because he killed the guy, but because he was in a fight and he was able to defend himself in that fight, and I think that's the juice that the guy was talking about, but that's not the kind of juice that he wanted.
At the moment, the only people that have the juice is Q and Steel, since they're the only two still up.
Right. But to me, I think one of the most impactful moments was when they was in the apartment, and they was in Bishop's apartment. You remember that?
Yeah.
No, not Bishop's apartment. It was Steele's apartment.
Steele's, yeah.
And Bishop was talking about how they ain't got no respect. How they run from everybody, but it's time that they need to get the respect because they're always running from somebody, and they're not really alive because they're not running because they're constantly running from things, and that's when they get into a fight in Steele's house or Steele's parents' house. But then what's his name? Ramon Dupree. Now I forgot his name now. Raheem. Because he was such a strong leader for them that he was able to get them to squash their beef, and he maintained peace in the group.
Yep.
Right. But and then the robbery itself when well, basically Bishop and the entire gang decided that a robbery is what they needed to get the juice that they deserve or whatever that means, and they decided to go and rob him, but Bishop can't control himself, and during the robbery he shoots an innocent person, and then they got to run and whatnot, and then he goes around. Spreading rumors that it's other people doing the shooting. Like it's not like, well, it makes sense because he doesn't want to go down for the shooting, but then he wants to.
I mean, before he spreads the rumor, Raheem tried to take the gun away from him because he knows that Bishop is not in the right mind to be holding the gun at the moment.
Well, it's not just that. They need to get rid of the gun because when they get the body, they find the bullet and they can trace the bullet back to the gun.
Yeah.
So that's why they said the first thing they need to do is get rid of the gun. But now Bishop is on this power trip. He's intoxicated. And so he resists giving up the gun. And then a fight ensues, and he kills one of his best friends.
Accidentally shoots Raheem.
He didn't do it by accident. He did it on purpose. He did it purposefully, and he threatened everybody else. And it didn't bother him that he killed his best friend. Everybody else is shook.
Yeah, he wasn't bothered by it because he was like, wait a minute, if I have the gun, then I have the juice. I am the leader of this pack now.
Right. He tried to assume leadership. He think he in command and control. But the problem is he only has command and control when he has a gun. Like Raheem, he was so respected in the group that he had command and control, and he didn't need a gun. But that was the kind of power that Bishop wanted, but he could never get. So that's why he has a gun.
I mean, yeah, he was not in the right state of mind, as I said.
Right.
Especially when you, in Steele's house, when he's watching a movie, you can clearly see that he's really not in the right mind.
No. He don't have all of his marbles. And his friend don't fail to remind him, right? But then, like later on in the film, like near the end of the film, he accepts that he is crazy, and he actually confesses that he doesn't care about anybody. The only thing he cares about is having power. And then he basically starts hunting his friends down and killing them.
Because, like, first he kills the rival gang, the leader of that gang, because, he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to get rid of him because I'm tired of seeing him pop up in my face. Especially when he put that knife out on me. I really didn't like that, so he has to go. So I'm going to shoot him like 3 times.
Right.
Then he's like, okay, since I know Q and Steel didn't help me when they saw them gang up on me, I'm going to get rid of Steel. So I'm going to have him come down to the arcade with me and then take him around back, shoot him, be done with him, and then spread a rumor that, oh, yeah, Q's going around doing this and that. It's all Q. He's crazy. He's not in the right mind. There's something wrong with him. And I knew him since the 2nd grade. We was kids. I knew him since then. I'm like, that is just stuff. See, that's a mastermind trick.
Right.
Just to trick everyone else and to blame it on someone else without causing suspect on yourself.
Right. Yeah, he was really messed up. And it's funny, right, because when they saw Train, played by Samuel L. Jackson, and first he told that to Train, and then Q went, and Q said, I need to see Bishop. And Train was like, well, word on the street is, you going around killing people. It's like, well, it ain't me. He's like, I don't know nothing. He's like, I know a lot of killers since they was in 2nd grade. So yeah, man, that was a powerful, impactful movie. That was and so any lessons you learned from this movie?
Be careful who you trust.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Oh yeah. Another thing with the elevator, when the gun was dropped, I believe that was the same DJ that got rejected. I think. I'm not sure. Because he picked up the gun and put it in
you talking about the guy? I don't remember. It could have been. I know
like
he
him.
looked familiar.
I was like, oh, well, looks like he got it now.
Yeah, he got it now. He got the gun. Because that's what happened when you drop a gun in a crowd. There's somebody going to pick it up, and you'll never see it again. Well, yeah, man, that was, like I said, I saw that when I was back in the day, soon after I graduated high school, and it was extremely, extremely impactful. Now, let's talk about some trivia. So, I'll start us off with this little piece of trivia According to Jermaine Huggy Hopkins, Tupac Shakur often walked off the set during filming as a prank. Hopkins told Shakur that he was being fired from the film. When Shakur found out that it was not true, he started a physical altercation with Hopkins. So Hopkins was like, he pretended that Tupac was getting fired. And then Tupac found out and he wanted to fight.
Darley Mitchell.
That's Daryl.
Oh, Daryl Mitchell. Donald Faison.
Probably
Faison. Anthony Tretch Christ and Money B were amongst the people who auditioned for the role of Bishop. Tupac Shakur had accompanied Tretch to the audition and asked to read. Shakur nailed the role when he threw a chair during his audition. Shakur helped Christ get a cameo as a member of Radim's gang. Radamines. Oh, Radamines.
Yeah.
Radamines? Yeah.
Radamines or Rademes. I think that's, well, you know Rademes, that was the one that was Puerto Rican. I think they're talking about, when they said Trench, I think that the dude from Naughty by Nature, the Trench from that group. But the funny thing is that I don't recognize him. Well, yeah, Trench is from Naughty by Nature. In the original ending, Bishop lets go of Q's hand, deciding that he would rather fall to his death than go to jail. Remind you of somebody?
Not really, but it's trying to
You
ring
remember
a bell.
Black Panther?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that scene.
Yeah, where he said, I would rather die than live in bondage or something like that.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie. So that's how they was going to end the movie. Now, this is supposed to be a reference to an earlier scene where Bishop watches the ending of White Heat and declares that he wants to die the same way. Test audiences did not like this ending, and Paramount Pictures executive demanded it be changed. So they didn't like that type of ending back then.
Yeah. Omar Epps learned how to spin a DJ before production began, and a lot of what he does in the movie is authentic.
That's that's dedicated to his craft.
I mean, that's a good thing, too, because then it would be awkward for him to have to learn for that role. It'd have been better to actually, get it someone that has DJ before it.
Well, I'm pretty sure some, because they say a lot of what he does, but obviously not all of what he does. So I think what it is that as an actor, you want to learn emotions. You want to move authentically in this space. So he learned how to spin records in order to look like he knew what he was doing. Now, for some of the music, they probably had somebody dub over some of the music that he was doing, especially in a competition. But I think that, like, in the scenes where he's up in his room where it's kind of simplified, he probably did those for real. I'm saying because I lost my space. Okay, Omar Epps stated in an interview that Tupac wanted to stay in character so much that he would aggressively ask cast and crew to call him Bishop instead of Tupac on set. He's trying to be a for real actor.
He using one of those methods. LaTanya Richardson, who played Steele's mom in the movie, is married to Samuel L. Jackson in real life, which is...
I did not know that.
That's very surprising.
The scene in which Q and Bishop are being chased by the cops on the rooftop are based on personal experiences by Ernest R. Dickerson growing up in Newark, New Jersey, where he would jump from rooftop to rooftop. That's wild.
I mean, yeah, that's a risk to take, but hey, if you can make the jump, then you can make the jump.
Right, you can do it.
Omar Epps was a senior in high school when the cast as Q. He had began contemplating.
I was supposed to be contemplating.
Yeah, contemplating a single career since he was part of a group or an acting career.
The surprising thing about me is that Omar Epps can sing, and he ain't telling nobody. I didn't know he could sing or that he was singing. The film was based on interviews that director Ernest R. Dickerson conducted with a group of his cousin's friends who had lived around the area where the film was based. Dickerson ended up using everything he had heard and became the basis of the film itself, as well as authenticity.
In between takes, Tupac Shakur would sit quietly and write songs, lyrics in notebooks. Shakur would become one of the most popular singers of the 1990s until his death in 1996. Omar Epps did an view part of the notebook that Tupac was writing song lyrics where the one that Epps read became Brenda Got a Baby. At the same time, the film was in production. Tupac was about to record his debut album, Tupacalypse Now, which came out at the same time the film was released.
You know what's funny? Tupac is one of my favorite rappers, and I never actually bought any of his albums. I just liked listening to it on the radio. But at the time, I really couldn't afford. No, actually, I guess I could have bought some. But I just never got around to buying Tupac's album. So for the first time a few months ago, I listened to Tupacalypse Now. It's like I listened to the whole album. It was like the whole album is dope. I was like, oh, okay. That's why he's a star. I was like, I mean, I know I like him, and I know he's considered one of the greatest rappers of all time. But when you listen to the whole debut album, I was like, oh, this dude had fire. He had fire from the start. So, yeah, I need to start listening to more Tupac. But let's see what the critics think. What are the critics worried about? Critics, 79% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience gave it 90%, what it deserves, because you got to depend on the audience to tell you the truth. The truth with the F. And it's got a 60% on Metacritic. I have no idea what's going on with that site. That site is broken. The following reviews are pulled from the Rotten Tomatoes site. Ben Thompson says Juice adapts the DJ struggling to make it scenario and puts across a message of inner city hopelessness. The most interesting elements are all too brief glimpses of family life and the boy's own relationship. And then, I suppose that's a valid concern.
I mean, yeah, especially when you had that one scene where, what was his name? Radim and his ex-girlfriend with the baby on how, they was like, all right, you know what, fine, we're done. We're squashing it. And then the scene after that, you see the same girl get in the car with another man, which hurts him. And he's like, dang.
Right.
And then at his funeral, you see her there, and it's like you can see her making some regretful decisions.
Well, she's hurt because she used to know this man, and that is his baby.
Yeah, that's true. But, she could have probably also squashed it, too, instead of, fighting. So
she probably had enough of his nonsense.
Who knows?
Let's see. David Anson, he says, poised halfway between the action conventions of New Jack City and the personal grit of Straight Outta Brooklyn, Juice doesn't have the pizzazz or the insight to satisfy as either exploitation or art, which is, I believe, a bad take.
It sounds like he really didn't watch it.
You know what? I disagree with this Anson person. Janet Maslin says, Mr. Dickerson, whose cinematography has been the reason Spike Lee's films look so good, has a terrific eye and some juice of his own. Yeah, I would say so. I concur.
Stop.
What say you?
Stop doing that. No, not even a medieval times no more.
And finally, Ed Gonzalez says, a Hitchcockian moment in the elevator is perhaps the film's signature set piece. So this had like the tomato splash, so apparently he didn't like it. But he is correct. That was definitely a very important scene. But I think another signature set piece is when the DJ battle, because it really shows what Q was aspiring to.
Yeah, that's what he really wanted to do, even though he would skip school. That's what he really was more passionate about versus, just being a local DJ.
Right. That was his whole life. And the funny thing is that I think Mr. Gonzalez has missed that. He missed it. It was like Q's struggle for what his passions are, and basically the love for his family of brothers, his band of brothers. He wants to do right by them, but he also wants to pursue his passion, and it shows how he's caught in between that.
He's caught he wants to be with them, but he also wants to stay out of trouble.
Right. Oh, speaking of trouble, another one of the most best parts in the film is the interrogation. And how
So Q is, being on calm, nothing's happening, even though they interrogate him. Bishop is smoking, being on calm, very heavily calm while he's being interrogated. Now, still, he's just being straight up harassed. I'm like, you see him, they're grabbing him. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? I understand this is interrogation, but you're doing the double bad cops here. Not one of y'all the good cops.
Right. And here's the thing. That's how police treat people. The funny thing is how they understand who they're interviewing, so their attitude or their demeanor reflects the people that they're interviewing, so that they can get the most information out of them. That's why they treat everyone different.
So like this, Q is semi-aggressive. With Bishop, this is relaxed. With Steele, just automatic, straight up aggressive because they know they can. They're like, we can break him.
Right.
He's crying right. We can definitely break him, and he's not even breaking at all. He's just holding it in, not trying to snitch.
Right. He's doing everything he can, but he's not used to this situation. But they figure they can break him. He's the closest one to breaking. But as far as Bishop was concerned, they knew that he was straight up lying, but they needed to sift through all of his lies in order to get to the truth. And Q was just straight up resistant because he knows they're like asking him why he nervous. He's like, because y'all going to decide whether I'm guilty or innocent. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he already knows this way. It's like, it doesn't matter for me.
Right. It doesn't matter. Y'all going to decide whether I'm guilty or innocent. So let that be a lesson to you. Just stay away from the police, because if they decide you're guilty, they're going to decide that you're guilty. I think that is an important lesson from this film. And I think Dickinson has taken this from real life experiences. So,
it sounds like it.
Yeah, there's
especially when you jump roof to roof. Oh yeah, it definitely sounds like it.
That seems like a lot of truth in this movie, and I think that's why I like it so much. It felt so real, felt like real life. I didn't live this life. I never experienced any of this.
Nor have I.
Right, and I'm glad you didn't. Man, I know bailing you out of jail probably would have been the worst experience of my life. So I'm glad I didn't have to do that, and I'm glad I never had to run from the police. But I know I got plenty of family members who've lived that life.
That I can believe.
Or similar. They had a similar experiences. I'm pretty sure they have much more insight in this movie than I could share, because
skipping school, going to the arcades, like, the police here.
Right.
Dip.
That ain't even me. That's not even close to me. I may have skipped a couple of days of school, and it sure wouldn't have go and rob a liquor store.
I mean, if I skip school, I'm going to the arcade. That's the main place I'm going.
Right. I know. I remember your grandma didn't even want me to cross the street to go to the arcade, and that was the most I ever did. Like that was the most the greatest law that I broke was going across the street to go and play in the arcade, especially when I had enough quarters. When I saved enough quarters, man, I was going in there and I was playing as much Pac-Man as I possibly could. So yeah, that was Juice, everybody. That was one of the quintessential dramatic films of the 1990s. Man, if you haven't seen Juice yet, at the time of this recording, it was on HBO. Y'all need to check that joint out. You got any last words?
No, not really.
Well, I do. Happy New Year, everybody. Y'all have a great one. It's going to be a great year. Peace out. And don't forget, stop by www.backlook.com or any of our social media profiles. Y'all have a great year.